Okay, hello. I think we are one grot at the moment, but at least one more grot is going to turn up in a couple of minutes. Hello, hello, hello. You guys hear me okay? Excuse me. Hello, Eternal Crusader. Good evening. Um, Hopefully we are live. I think we are live. Um, I think we're live. Okay. Hopefully Tony's going to be here in a minute. I've been working on jump intercessors for a few weeks now. These guys are super close to being finished. I want to say that they're going to get finished this stream. Audio is good. Thank you so much for the double check. I'm going to decide on. I think I'm going to use some Temple Guard blue, or I'm going to use some. I'm wanting to use a light blue. Oh, cool! I've got a dry light blue paint. I didn't even know I had a dry light blue paint. Okay, Cronus blue. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to put a little bit of dry brushing inside these jump jets, just adding final touches here. Oh, I definitely haven't used this paint much. It's gone a little bit spongy. It looks okay on the. Where's my tissue paper? There you go. You can see it now. How is everybody? What's happening? Ah, Tony's in the chat. He's making excuses. We'll let him off. Man, kids, they never go to sleep when you want them to. This blue looks a lot darker on the paper than it does inside the paint pot. That's weird. I guess we'll find out if we're getting any sort of contrast with a dry brush. This dry brush might actually be too big for in here. This is a dry brush that I cut the bristles off, if you can see that. See that? I tried to cut it to make it a smaller dry brush. This is actually the Citadel small dry brush. I wanted it even smaller. So. Hey James, how you doing, bud? Do you know what? That blue is going to be the same friggin' colour. I'm not going to be able to see any difference between this. I'm going to need to find a lighter blue. I can't even remember why I bought. I bought that blue. Does not look anything. Look how light it is in the pot. And look how dark it is on the palette. What? That's false advertising. That is. And as always with Games Workshop paints, a giant amount of it has managed to find its way onto the seam of the pot. Just how we like it, eh? Unable to be closed, this pot, of course. Of course. There we go. Now it will close. Yeah, that paint is a lot darker than it looks like on the pot. In the pot, that's weird. Okay, we'll deal with it. It needs rehydrated and stirred into next week. I mean, it's a dry paint, and the dry ones do tend to be, they do tend to have this weird texture to them. I guess because I've not used it much. That's fine. We'll use a different colour. We'll use something lighter. I've got Blue Horror. That's definitely going to be lighter. It's not a dry paint, but we'll still dry brush it. You don't necessarily need dry paint to do dry brushing, right? This will definitely be a different colour. This dry brush is quite. The inside of those backpacks is quite like annoyingly small, though. Like, how are you? You've never used dry paint? Okay. Thought you were a bit of a painting extravaganza, or extravagant Eternal Crusader. Okay, this'll do. This'll do. This dry brush is just big enough to fit inside without touching the edges too bad, so we'll just use that. I'm not looking for too much on the jetpacks. It's not like anyone really inspects the inside of the jetpacks, is it? Or the jump jets. I'm just trying to give them a little bit of texture so that they aren't just one flat colour. Cool. I use the dry paint quite a bit. Celestia Grey is one that I use quite a lot, and I also use Tyrant Skull quite a lot. Celestia Grey is the one that I use for like all the Sangre Guard wings. I guess Sangre Guard don't have any wings anymore, but I mean, I'll still use it for Sangre Guard wings that I'm going to do. And then Tyrant Skull, I actually dry brush all my bases with Tyrant Skull. It's just like an off-white, I guess. Oh, do you know what I was going to do? I was going to put some transfers on these bracers. I forgot that I'd said I was going to do that. So I guess we're gonna find some transfers tonight as well, maybe. I mean, if you use a dry brush, you can make a dry brush last a long time. I've had 2 Citadel dry brushes in like the last 5 years, probably. Like, I guess you don't use the dry paints on regular brushes, right? You use them on specific dry brushes where I think the bristles are a little bit harder. Because you're not actually really painting, you're more like I'm not trying to paint, you're more like if this was the model, you're just doing that, right? Like, in some paint will come off with the dry brush. More like you're doing strokes of paint, and just because there's still a little paint on the brush, very little will come off. See, like I dry brush these Aquillas. That's about all I've dry brushed on this model, actually. I was half thinking about dry brushing this tactical rock they're on, just to give it a little bit more depth, I guess. Yeah, we'll dry brush the tactical rocks a little bit. But these guys are very close to being done. Dry brush the Aquillas on here as well. So I could get 3, 4 transfers for those wrist guards, whatever you want to call them. Pauldron, is it pauldrons? What do you call that? Yeah, I dry brush all these shoulder pads as well. Oh yeah, there was a skull on this guy's base. Okay, yeah, we're gonna paint the skull. So we're just doing any little bits that I've missed, any final tidy ups on this. What are we gonna paint the skull? Sandry dust. Ushati bone. Let's do bone. I mean, it makes sense to use bone. The skull is made out of bone. Cool. So yeah, I'm just trying to get these guys over the finish line. And then I want to make 2 Death Company models with Eviscerators. So I'd like to start on that tonight as well if I get a chance. Because at the moment, the Death Company models that I'm using that have Eviscerators, I'm actually proxying Reavers as those models. And I just like to... I've got the new Astrath to get sprayed anyway. And we're getting to the time of year in Scotland where there's not too much more nice days and nice times to get sprayed. So I want to spray Astrath black, and then I want to spray 2 Death Company with Eviscerators black as well. So we've got like the next little project that I need to work on, I guess. Yeah, I forgot there was a skull on this base. It's just hiding right down here at the bottom of the base. was gonna say, hopefully Tony won't be too long. I did ask him what time he was going to be ready. He did say 9, so it's fine. Mark's away doing his live action roleplay. Mark does live action roleplay for Warhammer every few months, so he's away doing that this week. But yeah, I need to do like another 5 jump assault intercessors, but it's just, oh, this squad has taken me so damn long for a battle ready squad, because that's all these guys really are, is battle ready. I've been very disappointed in how long it's taken me to do them. Have been a little bit sloppy in terms of like getting models finished or something in the last 6 months. But I just feel like the jump assault intercessors feel like they have a lot of detail on them. I don't even know really why they took so long, but they took me for ages. But maybe I'm going too far. Maybe putting transfers on their pauldrons or their gauntlets is a step too far, but I'm going to do it. Maybe my painting's evolved. The more painting I've done, the better I'm getting, the longer it's taken. Or I'm becoming more of a perfectionist, maybe. That's maybe what's happened here. I've got quite a lot of Blood Angels to get started on, but I'm waiting for the Combat Patrol and the Crimson Lords. Yeah, I'm waiting on the Combat Patrol as well. I'm actually really surprised, dude. I didn't buy any of the Blood Angels pre-orders last weekend. Not a single one. I mean, I want the Combat Patrol, I think. I actually sent Mark in the post 5 of my Assault Intercessors, so I don't have 60 anymore. I only have 55 Assault Intercessors to make now. So now that I've only got 55 Assault Intercessors to make, I need the Combat Patrol to get another 10 back. I mean, not really. But, yeah, I did send away some of my Assault Intercessors, because I was like... Mark didn't buy the new... He didn't buy the box, he just bought a single Astrath, so he didn't have any Eviscerators. So I sent him a... Obviously, I sent him a guy that's got the Eviscerator because I feel like that would be useful. I want a dark grey, or maybe I want a lighter grey. Dawnstone, I guess. Let's use a little bit of Dawnstone. So I'm going to dry brush a little bit of Dawnstone onto the bases as well. But it's going to be like a very small amount. So like when you're dry brushing, man, you just get rid of most of the paint out the brush like this. And then it's just a case of like, you're not really painting, you're just trying to run the brush over some of the edges. And deposit ever so slight amounts of paint. I'm not trying to do too much with the bases, just break up the fact that they're just giant mounds of grey, I guess. This should help it look a little bit more like stone. So did any of you guys watch the game last night? The friggin' Stompa is just crazy, is it? 800 point orc model with like some... If he rolls well on the shooting is actually kind of ridiculous. Like I couldn't like every time I seem to play a Gorkanaut or a Stompa, they actually do seem to kill something literally every turn. I mean, the Stompa was crazy. The Gorkanaut's quite good, but the Stompa is bloody crazy. Oh, the good old days of being allowed to field a super heavy tank as a Space Marine player, weren't they? I actually don't know if I really feel like there's there's room for 800 point models in a 2000 point game of 40k. It feels a little bit cheesy or silly. Hey, here comes Tony. Great. The man, the myth, the legend.
Evening all.
Hello, dude. How you doing? Let's see if people
Can you hear me all right or not?
I can hear you. Yeah, let me see if people in chat can hear you. That would be great. Someone in chat tell me if Tony's too loud, too quiet. What we got to do?
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Ooh. How are you anyway, dude?
Yeah, not too bad. Just busy.
Kids asleep?
No.
Nope.
But my wife's taken over for a bit, so that I could not leave you.
Oh, I do appreciate it.
So yeah,
there we go.
I'm gonna nip off in a second because I need to grab a drink or something. But I just want to get sort of started because I'm doing something a bit more funky today if I can. So I'm quite looking forward to this. I've dug out a very old model.
An Inquisitor with a plasma
It is an
pistol?
Inquisitor. It's it's an Inquisitor. So this is a very old metal limited edition Inquisitor model that I've had for a while.
Okay,
and then
nice.
A couple of years ago, I stripped it, and it sort of sat there. So I thought it'd be quite nice to get them painted up. I don't know if I'll use him for anything, but I haven't got any painted Inquisitors at the moment.
Do you know, I've only got one, and I'm not really happy with the paint job. It's kind of satisfying to go back and strip it and make it good.
This is quite a special model, so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to actually see if I can knock him up. And I've got my classic book.
Oh, cool. What edition is that book from?
So this is the third edition Effective Sisters of Battle Codex.
Oh, right, okay. I don't think I've ever actually seen that book before in my life.
It's a cool book, but then third edition, it was a good year for sort of like lore and that. So this is when we sort of got what's now modern Sisters of Battle. So it was kind of the introduction of things like The Exorcist.
I see.
Pre-models, so there's no pictures of them or anything. Because The Exorcist that you actually got at this time was the 4-year-old one.
Okay,
which
wow.
looked a lot like a whirlwind. So it was just a rhino with a missile launcher on top.
Rhino with a missile. Okay, yeah, no one in my circle played that, so I don't think I've ever seen that book. But that's super cool.
So
a unique
I'm going to go
Inquisitor,
and I'm going to find myself a nice looking Inquisitor, and I'm going to rip off its colour scheme. Don't you miss all this sort of stuff? Do you remember when we used to get these?
Yeah.
Force organisation charts and.
That is one thing that people have said about the new Blood Angels Codex. They're like, there isn't very much, if any, new lore in it. And one of the things I've actually started doing, I don't know if anyone cares about it, but in my tactics videos, I have actually started adding lore back, because like when I first started my channel, I did lore in all my tactics videos.
You did?
So like, I'm doing at least like a sentence or two of lore at the start of a lot of my videos now, just because I feel like it's a sad thing that maybe I've lost touch with a little bit. But also, I mean, like, if there's, if you just get a new codex and the lore is a carbon copy from the last codex, then like, there's not too much to talk about.
Because some nerds like me buy the codexes more for the lore and the cool pictures and stuff than they do for the rules.
Yeah, I know.
Because let's be honest, if I just wanted rules, I'd just use Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, true.
True
enough.
What I get the big book for is all the pretty pages and the lovely artwork and all the new lore and that. So it's a bit disappointing when there isn't any new stuff. So here we go. Yeah. Here he is.
There he is. What year was that book published in then? There's the $1 million question.
So this book was published in...
Let me guess. 97.
90-something. What does it say on that page? I remember it would.
It's usually on like the index
back
page.
When it was good. Because look, if you look, I don't know if you can see it on there, but it's when they used to actually tell you who wrote the book.
Yeah, I liked that as well.
You know, who painted the miniatures, who wrote the book, who made all the different artworks and stuff like that. And that's cool. It's nice to see it.
Yeah, and that's a big that's a big like if you were the model
Conversions.
painter.
Can you imagine getting conversions in it now?
Yeah. If you were the person that did that, it's nice to be recognized.
It's cool. Oh, here we go. Oh no, later than that. So 2003.
Oh wow, okay. We're miles
So
out.
right at
Greeting,
the end of
Alex. How
third
you doing?
edition then. Right at the end of third, that was. Because we went for a long time in third with just what is effectively now an index for Sisters of Battle.
Hmm.
I haven't actually bought the latest Sisters of Battle Codex, but I've got all the previous editions.
I see.
Because I've actually played Sisters of Battle longer than I played Blood Angels, but I didn't like the kind of revamp in the style of the Sisters that have been sort of modern ones.
Okay, so you're still metal.
So well, I've got about 3,000 points of mostly metal Sisters of Battle and Forge World models that they don't support anymore.
Yeah, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for metal miniatures until I start painting them and then realize, like, yeah.
Some of them are very good, and I like the extra. I know it sounds like a weird thing, but I quite like the sort of like extra heft when you're painting it.
True.
So what am I going to do with this guy? Right, he's quite an interesting model, but a lot of his like facial detail and stuff is pretty covered up. So I'm not going to go too overboard with
You're not
it.
going to go crazy. Okay.
There's no point because you can't see it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sort of get some nice sort of basic colours on him, and then we'll tighten him up with a bit of oil and things.
Nice.
Right, so what I'm going to do. Finding some paint. So normally when we do this, I pre-pick out all my paint and everything.
Yeah.
But just like as a matter of like thing, yeah, this is one of my paint drawers.
No, I've cut my paint drawers right down because I only use so many colors. It seems silly to have a billion colors.
I've got 7 of these ones, and then I've got a couple of sets of paint that aren't in drawers.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of like trying to figure out what I want to use. But that's quite a fun game. I like trying out new paint ranges.
Yeah, you're definitely the most professional of the three of us when it comes to finding new paints and finding new techniques, I'd say.
It's the side of the hobby that I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Because I was going to paint, if I'm honest, originally this big old bastard, but he's so big, trying to get him on the stream is a bit tricky.
Oh, I remember the last time I painted a super heavy tank. I swear it was a workout for my left arm.
Yeah, it's because I've got him, this, which is my Mark IIV Land Raider.
Right on.
And a Ziphon on my paint desk at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, all three models difficult to get on a painting stream, I guess.
Yeah. And also, the stage I'm at with them is I'm blacking out details, which is probably the dullest thing there is to watch anybody do.
The boringest part, yeah. Do aggressors and Blade Guard veterans use the same size shoulder pads? Blade Guard do have big shoulder pads. I need someone from chat to help me out. The only Blade Guard I've ever had are the easy to build ones in Indomitus. And I did actually put some Terminator shoulder pads onto my ones. Because they do have those sort of like rim shoulder pads or whatever you would call them. But whether or not they're aggressor size, I couldn't tell you.
They are quite as.
I feel like they're probably a tiny bit smaller.
I think they're a little bit smaller, yeah.
But I mean, the Terminator shoulder pads look great on aggressors, I must admit.
Oh yeah.
Because I had some of the. Do you remember in Forge World sold Blood Angels Terminator shoulder pads? I had a set of those.
I do, but I never bought any, if I'm honest, because back when they did that, I was way too poor to be buying things like that.
Okay.
So I did have a lot of. What I'd do is I'd save up and I'd buy like one model from Forge World a year, kind of thing, at that time. Because that was quite a few editions ago they were making all those sorts of stuff. So,
oh yeah,
like I've got quite a lot of old Forge World, but it's things like I've got 2 repressor tanks. I've got 2 of the old Sisters of Battle Exorcists. I've things like that.
Yeah, it might be a decade, honest. Maybe not quite a
I
decade. I think.
reckon it's more than that. When they were released, I'm sure they probably sold them a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably it was a decade ago that they had the Forge World Terminator shoulder pads, and then I think I bought them about 7 or 8 years ago, and I only bought one set, and it's like a huge regret of mine because I didn't think that they would take them off sale and never bring them back. You know?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. They do have the same shape, Alex, but I don't know if they're exactly the same size. Let me.
Ah, that's what I'm looking for. So this paint, Black and Brown by Reaper. So Reaper make a lot of miniatures for D&D and stuff, and they're of a relatively low quality generally, but they're okay because they've got a nice variety of raw metal stuff. But their paint range is very, very all over the place. A lot of them are pretty shite. But this particular paint is brilliant. It's one of my favourite paints. It just works for what you want it to do. It's very much a bit like Rhinox Hide, but it just mixes better.
Okay.
And you occasionally, this is why I've got so many ranges of paints, because like often with a whole range of stuff. So I always say army paint is shit, but it's not all shit. They've got a few really good paints. It's just a lot of them are shit. And the only way you sort of find out what the good ones are, you sort of work your way through.
I think that just real quick, I think the aggressor shoulder pad is a tiny bit from Blade Guard because I've got two right side by side, and I want to say the aggressor one is the tiniest bit bigger, like maybe 10% bigger or something. Sorry, go on. Army painter paints.
Very well. There's not a lot to say really. They're shit, but they're not all shit, and that's my point. It's like every range of paint has got a few absolute standout gems. And I've got so many because I've sat there and I've been going through them through the last few years, going, well, I like this particular one. And then with some of the small batch stuff, the smaller companies, you'll find even batch to batch. Even I say that, even some of the larger companies like Vallejo, they do one of their black model color black is a great black, but sometimes it's quite a matte, lovely color, and then other times it comes out looking a bit glossy. And it's like batch to batch, there's variants, which is bloody annoying.
Yeah, do you know what? The army painter subscribed to me on YouTube. I know because it pop like YouTube shows you your top subscribers or the top count of subscribers, and army painter have like 200,000 subscribers, and they subscribed to me, and I was like, oh cool. So I don't want to say anything negative, but I actually don't use their products. I'm like, come on, you've subscribed to me. When are you going to send me some free shit so I can test it?
Well, I'll tell you what, the one I really wanted to buy, but I just can't at the moment. I've got sort of cut down on expenditures, but the what are they called? So Steamforge who make the Resident Evil board game and things like that.
Yes.
They bought the company that's making, oh crap, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a steampunk miniatures game. Okay. But they also managed the rights to P3 paint. And P3, I haven't got many of them. I have a couple of the really old ones, and they're very, very good, although they're annoying little pots. And they've just got the rights, and they've re-released them all on Kickstarter. But I didn't have a couple of £100 spare.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
To sort of just get that whole range, just because, I've got, for example, the whole range of TT Combats paint here.
Oh, cool. Which
they're all right. They're not special, but they were relatively cheap. They go on okay. They're quite a good one I use for like students and things like that because they're not too expensive. Whereas I like the AK ones, but they're quite dear. And so my scale color stuff. Right, I've got some paint. Now we can start doing something with it.
Very good.
I'm echoey apparently.
Yeah, I just fixed that. I had to put my headphones on, man.
Oh, was I coming in through on yours, was I?
Well, you were coming through my speakers. I had your speakers turned down. I didn't think it was going to be echoing, but apparently it is. Mike is working on my commissioned impulsor tonight.
Is it really?
Yeah, I finally. I guess we're going. So that'll be my second impulsor. And then
Yep.
Alex, who's in the stream here, very kindly for my birthday. I was actually thinking about this today. My family and that, like
Yeah.
my family got me a cup for my birthday.
Cup.
That was it. I got a cup. And then one of my subscribers sent me an impulsor, and I was thinking, like, thank goodness I've got some nice people on my stream, because all my family got me for my birthday was a fucking cup.
Oh, not to sound ungrateful or anything.
No, I mean, like, yeah, not to sound ungrateful for. I don't. I did say I didn't want anything, but I guess as you get older, your birthdays get more anticlimactic, don't they?
Yeah.
You're probably in the same boat as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You get a pair, and then Christmas you get a new pair of socks, or maybe a multi-pack of socks. That's the win for Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm to be honest, I'm in the same boat. It's my birthday in about a week, but
Oh, how old will you be?
I'm not expecting anything. What have I asked for? I've asked for the villainy inks, which are like enamel-based inks, which seem quite fun. This paint doesn't want to mix properly. It's different. I couldn't be asked that much. I don't care about it that much. But yeah, so the villainy inks are really good for doing a grim. They're supposed to be very good for doing grim dark stuff. They're enamels, and I'd quite like to try them out. And the complete set of those is about 80 quid.
Okay.
Which is slightly more in the realms of not stupid,
Yeah. Mike actually likes getting socks for Christmas. Yeah, no, do you know what? I do like getting socks for Christmas, Mike, but it's like, if it's only socks, right? Like, it's like, I'd like something in addition to said socks.
Like pleasing some people.
Yeah, there's no pleasing me, is there? Greedy bastard.
Greedy bastard.
Yeah. Hey, do you know what? You'll be in the same boat, though. The smile of your kids being happy on Christmas Day is the only present that you need, right?
Oh, yeah. We all agreed that we'd stop buying each other expensive gifts. And
yeah, exactly.
That means naturally I'd just buy the child expensive gifts, And he's expensive enough as it is. He's grown out of a pair of shoes. He's only had them for 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
What size is he into now?
Size, he's going to need, I reckon he needs size maybe 6 now.
Okay.
He's got big old feet, the little bugger.
Dude, remind me after stream, and I have been meaning to put a couple of pairs of shoes for the kids on eBay. I'll probably be lucky to get a $5 for them, so I'll send you them. They're yours. But I can give you like 2 more. I mean, you know what the kids are like. They grow out them so quick. They've got no wear and tear on them. The only reason I was actually going to save up, like, because I think I've got 6, 7s, and 8s, like all walking boots, all bought from Mountain Direct. So I'll see what I can find. I'll send you a couple of pairs, save you 30, 40 quid.
Oh, that's very kind, because like you say, they just grow out of them so quick.
Yeah, and that's the thing that pisses me off is the like, honestly, like, I bought our walking boots, and I think I think there was a size that we bought, and we maybe went for like 1 walk in the woods.
Yeah.
So like, those shoes are fucking pristine, and like, I would just said to the wife, I was like, you're not giving them to the charity shop because they are absolutely pristine, but it's different to give them to somebody you know.
Yeah. It's because they're not cheaper than adult ones either, are they? We just sound like grumbling like 2 old men.
Yeah, we are grumbling tonight. They are, if you get them in the sale from Mountain Warehouse, they are $30. If you don't get them in the sale, I honestly think they're $50 for a pair of kids' shoes.
Yeah.
So I only buy them in the sale. I'm not a mug.
Well, I'm the same, but we occasionally you run into that like issue where it's so. He needed new shoes.
Yeah, he needs new ones.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, right, go to the shop. What can we buy? These ones, right? Any other choices? No. Okay.
Yeah, we've started buying gender-neutral ones where possible, because there's been a couple of times where it's like, Michael, you're wearing pink shoes, because we're not made of money. So,
That was a bit dramatic. Sorry, I think I froze up there. I'm having to use my little laptop at the moment because my desktop computer decided that it didn't like staying cool,
Oh,
and
really?
my
Overheat?
processor was running at a cool 100 degrees flat.
Oh, wow. That's the thermal paste usually when that happens.
Yeah, I think it is. It's under quite a lot of tension because it's a little ITX build.
You should peel
Yeah,
off the processor fan, put in
yeah,
thermal paste, and
yeah.
um, especially with the hot summers we've been having, the thermal paste will like the thermal paste has like a little bit of moisture in it, sort of.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it. So in our office at work, we run air conditioning all the time, and I've seen the thermal paste go from like a paste to basically like chalk because I guess all the moisture in it has just gone. And at that point, yeah, we had like computers that were. In fact, the computer we were doing our live stream of our battle reports died that way. It was like I just one day it just started shutting down. We're like, why is this computer shutting down? We went into the BIOS and it's like, oh, because the processor's getting to 95 degrees centigrade, and it's got like a shutdown overwrite. If it gets to 95 degrees, it just shuts itself off because
It's
at
the same sort
100
of thing. So
start
mine's
melting.
so it's underclocked a little bit, but it's just heating up so fast now. So that tells me that probably the thermal paste, but it's also under a little bit of tension because it's an ITX build. It's all on one water loop.
I see.
So it's a tiny little sandwich case, and then it's got a big radiator in the top of it, and that cools everything.
I see.
So,
Mike said he was gonna watch the football, but he's decided to hang out with us instead.
oh, that's good. It's rubbish sport anyway. Wrong shaped ball. Um,
Yeah, you're not a fan of football, are you?
it's not my sport. I grew up in a rugby household.
Yeah, my dad watched a lot of rugby.
We never had the football in the house when I grew up.
I might
And
be
gone.
ready to call these assault intercessors done. Maybe. I don't know if you've been. I've been working on these guys for fucking ages, Tony. It's been.
Well, yeah. Every time I talk to you, you're like, I'm like, what have you been doing? It's like assault intercessors.
I
And
mean,
if I'm honest, the changes that I've seen in them more recently have been relatively minor.
how very dare you? I'm too much of a perfectionist.
I try and set myself a deadline for how long I'll work on something.
Yeah, that's what I should do. That's a good idea, really,
And
honestly.
then once I reach that deadline, that's it. I'll leave it because anything I'm probably, it's the whole 80-20 rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, 80% of the impact comes from 20% of the time spent on it.
Yeah, and I'm still looking at these guys through a 3 times magnifier and picking up on imperfections that I know for a fact that if I take it away from the magnifier, I won't be able to see the imperfections. So why the fuck am I still working on them? So yeah, you've just that I needed someone to get my head straight. So that's it. These guys are going to get transfers. We'll rim the base. They are done. I could try and make them a little bit better, but no. Come on, let's just get this squad finished.
You want to use them, don't you?
Yeah, I actually used them last night.
So just get them done, as it were. You do things in different orders to me. So for me, transfers are sort of step 3.
I kind
So
of do transfers penultimately, yeah.
yeah, I do them early on because it means that as I go through and do any kind of like weathering or detailing or anything, I do it to the transfers as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes them look a little bit more part of the model rather than going on.
Settled, yeah. It's a good idea. Yeah, sometimes I have to go round my transfers at the end with a little bit of me like just like tidying them up to, as you say, to weather them in a little bit.
Yeah. So it's pretty much, so the first thing I do is sort of main colours. So we can see it on the big well, actually, let me grab something. So this is my ballistas that I've been working on. I say working on. So he's not done transfers yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've readied him off. I've done some basic kind of metallics on there, and I've blacked out the detail. So the next thing that I'll do to this guy is I will gloss varnish him, transfers,
Yeah.
gloss varnish again to sort of seal in the transfers. Then I'll do the kind of oils and weathering, and then I'll build the colours back up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my normal workflow.
Yeah, it's good. Good workflow, I guess. Yeah. I'm just gonna very quickly touch around some of these transfers where they've gone a little bit white, and then that's gonna be me finished with these guys. I'm hoping to get a good day to get outside and varnish them. Hopefully, we'll have a low humidity day in the next couple of weeks, because I feel like if we go much later in the year, there won't be any more low humidity here in Scotland.
You've got to be careful with the old varnish. You don't end up with horrible frosting
Yeah,
or whatever.
I usually wait until the humidity is like in the low 60s, honestly. Sometimes even I never varnish if it's anywhere really above that, I guess.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm sitting there doing this with bloody hand. And I'm sitting there going, hang on, I want all of this pretty much to be brown. Why don't I just
So,
solid airbrush it?
airbrush it.
I'm going to be here forever at this, right?
Yeah, that's like me. What you see says, here's me spending 4 hours trying to get the purple eye way I like it on my custodes. There you go.
80-20 rule. Concentrate on the faces, concentrate on the weapons, concentrate on the hands, and then the rest will start looking good. Because nobody's going to spend any time looking at the bloody thing. Right. Let's get the old airbrush out on this, isn't it? So apologies if I aren't quick enough with the mute button when the compressor starts going off.
No, it's fine. It's all good. What's the best beginner painting technique? Asks Slade. He got his first miniature today.
It depends on what you're trying to achieve. I know it's like a bit of a cop-out answer, but so you've got sort of two schools of thought. Are you trying to do like a I want it to look as good as I can, as quick as I can, or are you trying to like train yourself to be a really good kind of competition painter? So the techniques that I teach the kids, because I do a lot of training students, things like that, is the first thing I do is I get them to worry about just getting a nice layer onto everything. So nice and neat, take your time, layer everything up with just base colors. When you've done that, the first technique you're going to practice after just being neat, basically, thin your paints, lots of thin coats, and so forth, is dry brushing, because you can get a long way with just dry brushing over nice layers, because that will let you get some basic highlights and things like that on.
That's very true.
You can go a long way with doing that, and then you can start practicing techniques rather than like painting, if that makes sense. So there we go. There's the compressor. Things like oil washes, pigments, this sort of stuff are all processes. Yeah, oils are brilliant for this. Learning to do some basic oil washing takes 5 minutes, but makes your models look a lot better. And you don't have to be a good painter to use those techniques. You just have to know what the technique is. So if you just want to get finished models looking good, especially if you don't mind going down sort of like a slightly messier, grimdark style, you can get a long way with just these processes rather than having to be really, really neat.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you want to become a really good painter, then it's good to go the opposite direction. So I very, very rarely will use washes, apart from like a few of the oils and things like that. And I've used the oils more recently. What I would do is I would try and paint my shadows in, paint my shadings in, paint my highlights on using volumetrics. And that practices those brush skills. So being really accurate. So that makes me a better painter, but it doesn't necessarily make a better looking model until you get really shit hot at it. So it's kind of combining those two techniques.
Yeah, I wish someone had told me that at the start, man, because I have fairly good brush skills, but my process of how I paint models is so fucking slow.
It's too slow. It takes too long, basically.
I am really like when I put my army on the table and everything is done. I am really proud of it.
And you should be. It looks good.
But yeah, you're right. It does take me too long. Like I think this one squad of 5 guys probably took 50 hours.
Yeah, that's not sustainable over a long period of time.
How very dare you?
So when I'm not commission painting too much at the moment, but when I am, I spend a lot of time. First thing I do is I work out a process for each for the army basically. How am I going to get the most efficient way of getting this army painted quickly?
Yeah.
So I'll do a couple of tester models, work out a process to save myself a bit of time, basically. And what that means is that I'm not spending loads of time doing things in the wrong order. A bit like I said earlier, with the red, then the black, then the metallic baseline, then the transfers, then the gloss varnish, then the. It's that ordering means that I'm not going back and forth.
Yeah. I think if I ever get round to another army, it's going to be contrast paint.
Oh, contrast paints are great, but you can use them in combination with other things to sort of speed up the process.
Yeah. Contrast and a dry brush, huh? Okay. Mike says you can't actually hear the compressor.
Sorry, John, I missed that.
He said you can't actually hear the compressor, so don't worry about it. Who's playing football tonight anyway, Mike? Is it England?
Don't know. What are you doing?
It must. I think it must be England because I think we're on international break.
Oh, I don't know, mate. Don't know.
My daughter actually asked me if she could come with me to see a football match the other day. It like made my day, Tony. She was like, Dad, can I come with you to watch the football sometime? I was like, yeah, and you can get a pie. We can put ketchup on it. She's like, oh, I'd like that.
It's a very kind of father-child sort of thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can do it with rugby. Don't get me wrong.
It's just going to sporting events.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, as much as I'm not a football fan. I'll go and watch anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'm not a rugby fan, but
rugby or whatever.
I would go watch a game of rugby with my daughter. You know, that's what she wants to do.
That was a bit bloody quicker.
There you go.
Now he's brown. Get some slightly lighter brown. Whoa, that's fucking annoying.
What happened?
Excuse my French. The bit fell out of the bloody paint pot. We sometimes the nozzle drops out of a dropper bottle.
Oh right, okay. You make a huge mess.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not having good luck today. The computer burned itself out. The bloody nozzles are clogging and shit like that. And my little boy doesn't want to go to bed. And I haven't had my tea yet. I spent 2 hours trying to put a little boy to bed.
I think my stomach
would clearly offended someone.
No, you've not offended anyone.
No, I mean, like to get all this bad luck.
Oh right, okay, I'm with you. So I played against a Stomper last night.
Oh yeah.
800 fucking points.
Oh, they're shit though, aren't they?
Do you know what? It's surprisingly deadly because its main cannon is 3d6 shots.
Yeah.
So, like, if he rolls 111, then it's surprisingly crap. But I think he rolled a 6, a 5, and a 3 or something, so he got like 50. I think he had 15 shots. It must have been a 6, a 5, and a 4 or something like that. He had 15 shots from the main cannon. The main cannon's like strength 14, AP 2, D6 plus 2 damage.
Right.
And he blew up my repulsor in one turn. And then the next turn, the Stomper like ate like the new Sangre Guard with her 4 up in funds and stuff like that. He doesn't care. He gets like 18 attacks. And he's flat
Yeah.
3 damage, so he killed like I think he killed 4 of the Sangre Guard in one round of combat. And they're 50 points per model at the moment. I'm just like, oh my god, this fucking Stomper, man.
It sounds better than my Thunderhawk, which is also 800 points.
It does actually sound a lot better than Thunderhawk, yeah.
But
Thunderhawk discrimination.
800 or so points of absolute fail.
Yeah, I don't know why the Thunderhawk is still fail. Games Workshop like the stomp, like that stomp. Those Stomper rules are crazy, man. Brett was actually saying after the game, he's like, "I'm going to see if I can build a list that has 2 Stompers." I was like, "Well."
I mean, I do have a Stomper because I started building. I've started putting together models for an Orc army.
Oh yeah, you're building the Orc army for your son, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've got a Stomper for that very reason.
Oh, that's cool.
I just thought it'd be a laugh.
It is a laugh, yeah. You need to apparently chant the rights of repair on your PC and stick a purity seal on it.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, what I need to do is take the cooling loop off and repaste it. Yeah, I've got to find the time to bloody do it. And because it is an ITX build, it is tight in there.
Yeah, that's the problem sometimes with those sort of like condensed or clean little builds. Is like,
yeah, it's a tiny ITX build. Luckily, I've used flexible tubing for the water cooling loop.
Oh, you built it yourself, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I haven't built my own PC in many years at this point.
Well, I stopped doing it for a long time. I started just buying hefty laptops because I was always short on space, and a desktop takes up a lot of space. But then I thought, do you know what? I really miss having a proper desktop.
No, I get you.
For like the graphics card and that.
Yeah, I like having a desktop. I hate. A pet peeve of mine is when you have to buy something online and you have to use your phone. I'm like, God damn it! I don't want to use my phone to buy something online. I fucking hate using my phone for that.
Yeah.
Highland Phoenix, good evening. Guys, if you get 2 seconds on the stream, if you can hit the like button. I don't know how many likes we've got, but likes help us out. So please do hit the like button on the stream. Just help us. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was agreeing with you. That was it.
Fair.
It's bloody annoying.
Yeah, that's like the modern age. Is like everything has now to be done on the phone, and you're not allowed to use a desktop anymore. When my bank transitioned from online banking, like on the desktop, to online banking on my phone only, I honestly almost quit the bank because I was like, let me think about this. Where do I want to view my bank statement? On my 27-inch monitor or on my 4-inch phone screen? You know, like, fuck you. Why do we have to use our phone for bank statements, you know?
Yeah.
I guess they didn't want to support
they
don't want to support the desktop version anymore, so they make you use their stupid app. But I guess that's the way of the world now.
It's got its place.
Yeah, it's got its place.
I mean, I've got a little tablet as well, which is quite handy to use. But for some stuff, I just prefer a desktop. I prefer having a big old mechanical keyboard and.
Yeah. I'm with you. 100%. We're the old guard. We'll be the last generation.
And also a desktop graphics card, just because the laptops get so hot, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why tablets don't really get good games and stuff, because they can't have the graphics card like a PC can have, I guess, right?
Well, and you've got, again, take into account some different weird architectures. And although everything being ARM-based is fairly... makes it a little bit easier, I suppose.
Which bank is that? It was Virgin Atlantic. They only do You can they don't let you log in on the website anymore. They changed it to app only, and I really dislike that. Um, what you seek says, I hate ITX. I remember having to cram a 9800 in those things back in the day because people insisted on tiny cases.
That's what I built. Well, it's not a 9800 in mine. It's what is it in mine? 3070.
Well, that's a good card.
It's a full size one. That's why it's a sandwich build.
I see. So it's quite portable as well.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's not much bigger than a shoebox.
Oh, wow.
But it's got a full size graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM.
Well, no, what Virgin Atlantic is it is a credit card, I guess. Highland Phoenix, and if you spend money on it, every time you spend money on it, you get air miles. That's why I have it. Because I buy everything on the credit card, like petrol for the car, the weekly shopping, all that kind of stuff, and it gives me air miles. And then it means when you go on vacation, you can get you can actually get quite a lot of money off flights. I think I was looking at how much it would cost to take my whole family from like Scotland to Florida for Disneyland. I think it was like £3,500, and if you have a fuckload of air miles, you could do it for 1,200. So it basically took off like 2/3 of the flight cost. It was actually quite a lot of the money. Like at 1,200 for 4 people return, it really doesn't sound that horrific, considering how much trains in the UK cost, right?
That's a lot cheaper than it cost me to go to China in the summer.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should start looking at an air miles card, man. Build up the like.
It cost us £4,000
for 3 of you, was it? 3 returns.
No. Each.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Okay. Wow. What about the kid, or was the kid free?
It was free.
Okay, still, wow.
Cost us £8,000 for our tickets to China. I mean, I'm being a bit disingenuous because we came back business class.
Cool, that must have been nice, was it?
It was nice. It was nice, actually. Because Shannon and I have never flown business class before. We couldn't do it this time either, to be honest, but we got a little bit of money from...
You splurged.
Shannon's family. And we sort of thought, well, we're going to treat ourselves. We couldn't afford both ways, but we did come back business.
Well, that's nice. I always thought about coming back business when my kid was being super obnoxious and like disrupting everybody else in business class, and thought that would be kind of fun. But
it was fun. It was very fun.
Did your kid do that, or were they fine? Very nice. Okay, I'm just gonna put the black. Yeah, if you go to Disneyland tomorrow, it'll be like a $5. I believe the hurricane wasn't quite as bad as all the predictions. Thank goodness. Some people still did die, though. Mike, I don't know if you're watching the news today. I saw that 4 people had died.
Oh yeah.
But they were predicting basically like a tidal wave. They were predicting a 15-foot high wave. It never quite came, but yeah. I guess the strength of a 15-foot high wave will just... Yeah, they basically said it was like a life-ending storm surge is what they were calling it.
Yeah.
There was a Category 5 when it's over the ocean, but when these things make landfall, the land sucks the power out of them.
Yes, it does.
Have you been watching the news today? Have you seen anything about the hurricane?
I haven't, no.
One of the parties in America, I'm just gonna say this, hopefully I don't offend anyone. But there's been people in America spreading the news that I don't know which political party, I guess the political party of Joe Biden, they are controlling the weather.
Okay,
there's false news saying that they've created the hurricane.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's the same as flat Earth, man. It's like
I know. Yeah, it's observably. We're gonna lose subscribers there because there's gonna be someone in there that
likes flat Earth.
I mean, I love watching flat earthers.
I did watch the documentary about them on Netflix and did think it was kind of funny.
It was good, wasn't it?
yeah. The danger though is like people believe anything. You could make up any batshit rumor on the internet, and if you say it enough times, someone will believe you, and then they'll tell their friends. And I think it's just that thing where people have managed to say something enough times that someone somewhere will believe them, and then it's like, you remember the games of Chinese whispers you were a kid? That's essentially what it is. Yeah. I don't even think you're allowed to say Chinese whispers anymore, right? Because that's deemed.
Nobody's ever told me off for using it.
Okay. I think I heard one time that was basically being racist against Chinese people, which is probably fair to say. So I don't know what you call the game anymore.
The one that always upsets Shen is when people refer to to Chinese as Chinaman.
Oh, right.
Which is like, can we not be a little bit more descriptive? No, Chinese engineer, or or even better, use the name.
Mike's asking, Tony, do you watch Sai Man Dan or Creaky Blinder?
No, never heard of either of them.
They must be like conspiracy people on YouTube or something. What are they, Mike? Hello, Andonius, how you doing? Scottish Whispers? Yeah, let's call it Scottish Whispers. I don't care.
Hang on, yeah, but Scottish people can't whisper. We know that.
Yeah, we're all loud and obnoxious. Isn't that right?
What's all that shouting from mountain to mountain?
Light the beacons of Gondor. Gondor calls for aid. Joe, we've started watching that new season of what's it called? Rings of Power. Oh my god, it's slow, man.
It didn't appeal to me, to be honest. I love the movies.
Yeah, I think it.
Except the Hobbit movies, because they were shit.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, I think that they're always going to struggle. Oh, they're flat Earth debunkers, apparently. Mike's saying.
I'm not sure why we need them.
I was going to say, do we need flat Earth debunkers?
It's like you kind of hang on, look out to see. Oh, look, I can see the curvature.
Yeah.
It's always something that's I've never really quite understood, but I don't like to dig too much because people are always entitled to their beliefs, and I truly believe that I'm also entitled to ridicule those beliefs.
Fair,
but we have to be a little bit careful because they always used to say that school teachers have to be like the BBC and be politically impartial and things like that.
Have to be impartial, but yeah.
BBC aren't politically impartial or anything else impartial, so I'm not quite sure how that works anymore.
No, that's true.
I tend to work it if I've gone too far when Mark tells me off.
Yeah. There is definitely like a flat earther contingent here in Scotland though, because like they vandalised like a bunch of signs around, like they vandalised road signs, and on the road signs they write like flat earth or believe in flat earth or something like that. It's like,
yeah,
what? Well, one, why does it even matter if it is, not saying it is flat, but if it is flat, what difference does that have to your daily life?
Well, I suspect the people that believe it aren't the sort of people that go travelling very much. So from their point of view, it has no effect whatsoever. From the point of view of people trying to get to the other side of the world, it's quite important.
Yeah. You're the physicist.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah. We'll see. Just dig a hole deep down through the centre of the earth. We'll be all good, right?
Yeah, something like that. Right, it's I'm going to be so lazy with this model.
No, you stripped it and everything. Why are you going to be so lazy?
Well, doesn't mean I'm going to do a bad job.
No, you're just going to be okay. You're going to be efficient.
I'm going to be an efficient job.
Okay, cool.
I've got an idea.
Tony, you aren't actually seeing the curvature of the Earth. It's curved airplane windows, don't you know? Says Antonius.
Well, that told me.
What you seek says, don't argue with the flat earthers. They've got members all around the world.
They're all over the disc.
Yeah.
I should probably not just bang a load of varnish into this pot when I've not really cleaned it.
Oh, I had something to tell you about a John Carpenter movie. I need to remember what it is now.
Is it about the thing getting remade? Because we know the game.
No, I know that the Thing game is getting remade, and that's great news because the Thing game was actually a pretty fun game back in the day.
Awesome game.
The news I had to tell you was Eternal Crusader's got one Deathwing Terminator down, 34 to go. The news I had to tell you is that they are apparently releasing a steelbook of Escape from New York for the new 4K re-release.
Oh, nice. Have you ordered it yet?
No, because it's only available in America at the moment.
Oh, that's a bit sucky.
So I don't know when it's coming to the UK, but in America now on Amazon, I think it was, you can buy the 4K re-release of Escape from New York in a steelbook, which is very cool, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I love steelbooks. I must admit I haven't bought too many of late, but that one would be a cool one to pick up, for sure.
You've bought quite a few of them, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got the Thing on steelbook. I've got I bought both Dune movies on steelbook.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking of getting one of the Terminator movies on steelbook. I got Lord of the Rings on steelbook as well. So I keep an eye. I usually buy them when they're on sale because sometimes the steelbooks are not overpriced, but just very expensive, I guess.
They are expensive.
Yeah, sometimes you get them for like $34, which is not too bad. But then, like, I've seen them. Lord of the Rings, the extended steelbooks was like 170, which was I was like, that's just too much. For 3 movies, 170 is too much.
Yeah.
Because maybe if I hadn't seen them, but I mean, how many? I've probably seen Lord of the Rings like 10 times.
Oh, even if you have seen them, 170 quid is a lot of money to see a film.
Yeah, true. Do you know what I really want to see that's just come out? I think it's out this weekend. Transformers 1. Have you seen the trailer?
I have seen the trailer. I think it looks wicked.
Yeah, I thought it looked wicked as well. It's like, if anyone's not seen the trailer, it's basically the origin story for Optimus Prime and Megatron in some sort of like it's almost like a Star Wars cartoon style or something, right? Or like a Pixar style.
Yeah, it looked wicked. They really did.
So, or Into the Spider-Verse style. My kids love that Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
You've got all that to look forward to when yours is just a little bit older.
Yeah, he's just a little bit little at the moment. He doesn't really watch any telly.
Oh, we give them way too much. We let them watch way too much telly. We try to limit it, but yeah, we quite often let them watch way too much.
So
I find it hard to get anything done if you don't let them watch telly, honestly.
Yeah, no, there is that. He's right under your feet all the time. So I've just given it a little bit of satin varnish. And that's just so I can do some techniques on top of it.
Too many people are so confident in their ignorance. It's a little bit frustrating. Sometimes I want to cope and say they're just trolling. Yeah, it's wherever you go. I suppose it's all around the world, man. People
definitely
believe what they want to believe, and there's nothing you can say that can talk them out of it. Alright, I'm calling these guys done. We're done. The Salt Intercessors are done. Praise the Lord. Next squad. I'm going to go back and do my Outriders pretty soon as well, because I like Outriders. I'm a big Outrider fan now. I wasn't originally, but I'm a huge fan of them now. I think they're really good in Sons of Sanguinius, or Liberator Assault Group as it's called now.
There's the Outriders.
Yeah, big fan.
I think they're pretty good. I used them last game I played, and it was only I just had one little unit of them. But they were quite nice. I don't like the kind of trading play style.
No, you don't like trading, do you?
I don't like trading. It's not how I like to play the game. But that being said, having a cheap throwaway unit that you don't really care if they die, they're a good one for it because they take a bit more killing than you'd expect.
Yeah, exactly. They have a little bit more OC than you'd expect as well.
Yeah, and because of that, it makes them quite a nice little unit to run off to nick objectives, and if you lose it, you lose it.
Yeah, I was going to build some Death Company with Eviscerators, Mike. I suppose I need to take some photos of the Predator tank that you're going to, so you can match. Are you still building that tank, or have you started painting now? I'll take some photos and send you them right after the stream. What's really sad is Mike actually painted me like an Ironclad Dreadnought, and I never got to use it one time before they put it into Legends.
Why are you playing Legends games? I played a game that was Legends the other day. That was intentional. Yeah, it was good fun. And I intentionally just brought a load of units I haven't really used.
No, that's a cool idea, actually.
And it was just fun. I just made my list up of kind of things that I can't really play with anymore.
Mm-hmm.
With no real intention of doing well or doing badly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm playing Kev, not this Wednesday, but next, and we're going to do 1,000-point game. I don't really do the 1,000-point games on my channel ever, but we are going to do 1,000-point game, and I'm going to run the Death Company detachment just because I don't think I've seen many people running it. So I just said to Kev, he's going to 1,000-point GT or 1,000-point RTT, sorry. And he said he basically said to me, I would like to play you because Colin and Andrew only build sweaty lists. He said, could you build me something thematic that could play against my Chaos? And I was like, oh, if you're bringing Chaos, then let me bring the new Death Company detachment, because that's sort of thematic for killing Chaos. And, otherwise I don't know when the hell I'm actually running this Death Company detachment, if ever. So it'll be a fun game. It won't be too serious. I don't think the Death Company detachment is too competitive,
No, I don't think it is, but it's still a laugh.
And we'll have a really fun game. I'll shout Horus at you a lot, I guess.
Yeah, the other two detachments are a lot more competitive, but I do like the Death Company one. I like that it's there as well. So, yeah, John, as you've got some oils that you still haven't used, you're going to see me do a bit of oil painting now.
I know I've got oils that I haven't used.
What I've got here is a model that I've done some basic stuff to. So he's got a bit of a gradient on there.
Uh-huh.
I've got some oil paint, and I've got a little pot. And all I'm going to do is slop some onto him, really. So, bit of paint. So you can do all sorts of things. Everything you can do with acrylic paint, you can do with oil paint. But I'm not trying to, if that makes sense. All I'm doing is I'm building effectively a wash.
Okay. So what are you diluting it with then?
Thinner, which I did buy you some.
Okay. So it'll be in the drawer with the oil paints.
Yeah. So I'm just going to make a bit of a wash for this. So it's just a bit of thinner and a little bit of oil paint. I thought for a second I Jackson just used a Kalinsky Sable brush to mix oil paint, which would be
that would be the greatest, wouldn't it? Antonius is building Jump Intercessor Death Company before he goes on holiday. You going anywhere nice, dude? Where's holiday for you? I'm actually off work next week, and I swear to God, it couldn't come any quicker.
Any reason, or just decided you need a bit of a break?
the nursery's closed next week for like the school holiday, so I'll be at home with the kids basically. So maybe I'll have a bonus stream or something at some point.
Yeah.
Like the kids watch too much screen time, like I said.
And then all I'm doing, John, is I'm just touching its places and just letting it run into the recesses.
Yeah, it's basically like the recess washing that I do with Agrax Earthshade, but it holds much better.
Well, no, more importantly, what it does is I can wipe this off again.
Okay.
So I can just wash it all down. Like, so if it doesn't really matter. If I want, I can just go crazy with it and just slamming it all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Would you use like a bit of a cotton bud or something to wash it away?
Yeah. And I can do that tomorrow if I want. So I'm just slopping it on really now because after that comment, you don't have to do this. You can be quite targeted with it, which is how I normally use it. But the beauty of it is you just sort of slop it on where you want it all over the kind of areas that you might want it. And then you remove it from the places that you don't want it anymore. And it won't, as long as you've, if you, especially got a nice sort of glossy surface, it won't stain the underneath.
No, that's very cool, man.
So I can completely remove it from places.
All right, Mike. Here is look. Mike did hazard stripes on this fucking ironclad as well, and I never got to use it. Look at these; they're beautiful. I miss these dreadnoughts. I miss these dreadnoughts already, man. Like they've only been gone for like a hot minute, and I already missed them.
They're so cool, aren't they?
Yeah, this was a great paint job. I would have loved. Do you know what? I think I am still going to finish this in terms of like just put some transfers on it and get it into my get it based and get it put into my display case that's full of the.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah. So here's what the. Here's what the Gladiator Mite did me as well. Looks like. I used some of the Forge World transfers on this one actually. Yeah. That's a Forge World transfer back there. I think that's a Forge World transfer.
Might be.
So use the 9s. I put a little Blood Angel thing on the turret.
Yeah.
It's nice. Very nice. Oh, and I put that's Forge World as well. The little Blood Angels just here.
The only thing you've got to be careful of using oils is you've got to remember that you cannot wash your brush in water.
Why? What will that do to it?
Well, it will just sit on the top of the water. As soon as you put olive oil in water, it just floats on top.
Oh, right, yeah, oil does float.
So you can't wash it in water. You've got to wash it in thinner. So this is just a little pot that I use that I keep for washing my brush in.
You've got 2 holidays coming up. You're going to Arizona at the end of the month and then Disney in a month. Which Disney are you doing, Andonius? Point stream on Thursday, John. Yes, we'll probably do a point stream on Thursday if the new points are indeed released. Thoughts on the list from yesterday, John? Great game. It's fun to watch. The Sangre Guard feel very, very expensive. I think is my big takeaway at the moment. Highland Phoenix. 50 points per model on the Sangre Guard feels like they are very difficult to play effectively. So I don't. I'm really hoping they go down a little bit and I can do a little bit more variance or something into my list. 50 points per model seems too. So I got the Forge World transfer sheet here. Oh, good! I've got 2 of these little banners for the front of vehicles. So I can do 2 more vehicles with these little banners.
Nice.
Do you know what? There was a typo, I think, on the Games Workshop website about the new Sangre Guard kits. Did you pick up on it, Tony?
No. Oh, about the sword and the banner.
No, it was about the transfers.
Oh, they've got Death Company transfers in there.
Yeah, apparently there's 540 transfers on the sheet that had the new Sangre Guard. I was like, why 540 transfers on Sangre Guard? I don't
I
really understand.
suspect that that's how many transfers are in the sheet that's with the combat patrol.
Yeah, probably, actually. You're probably right.
They're probably only like the odd dot here and there sort of thing, tiny little.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, actually. So these are the jump intercessors. That is the new upgrade sprue, so that is what I need. Where the fuck would I have put the instructions for the new Death Company box? You're away to Florida. That's awesome, dude. I'm so looking forward to taking my kids to Florida. It's just, for us, I'm not going to do it until they're like 8 and 10. So we've got like 6 years or something before we go. Costs a lot more for us to get to Florida than you guys in America, though, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trip for us.
Yeah. Do you know what? I went to Florida a few years ago after a hurricane, and I was literally going to Florida, like, before we were leaving the UK, right? The hurricane was, like, literally hitting Florida, like, the day before we left. My wife was freaking out a bit. She was like, are we going to get to go on this holiday? And when we actually got to Florida, there was, like, one tree falling over. That was the only damage that we saw. And we were driving around a lot in Florida, and there was literally no damage. So I think in the Disney stuff, they're just very, very quick at getting everything back up and running, or however you recover the damage.
Florida's quite famous really for its
They're prepared,
hurricane, isn't it? So
yeah.
they probably know what they're doing when it comes to clearing it up.
Aren't the Sangre Guard shoulder pads textured as well?
Yes, they are. Right? It's not very interesting texture, but I think it is textured.
Oh, right. Was the typo regarding the number of Infernal Pistols? Yeah, you wish, Highland Phoenix, we get one Infernal Pistol. It's so sad now. I mean, see, when you used to have 10 Infernal Pistols, you still fucking never ended up getting any wound rolls. Now you've got one Infernal Pistol. It's tragic.
It's almost not worth putting in there, apart from the fact it's free.
Yeah.
If I had to pay for it, I'd never put it in there.
It is pretty tragic. God damn it, I don't know where I put my instructions. I swear I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. Oh, where the frick would I have put the instructions? It's the big transfer sheet in the Sangre Guard box. That's a bit random though, isn't it? You get 3 guys in the box, yet they put 540 transfers in the box. So random. Have you built all your new Blood Angels? Did you buy you bought the Death Company starter box or whatever they called it, right? The Blood Angels, the Black Rage army set?
Yeah.
Yeah, you built everybody?
No. Built nobody out of it. I've literally, here it is. And it is complete apart from I took the codex out of it.
Okay. So I get to have a shot at you then for just being too damn slow, making fun of me and my slow painting.
These days, I'm just too. I mean, I want to get this Strayus done because I want to take it to this tournament with Mark.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. I
think it'd be a laugh. It's a doubles tournament, 1,000 points each, and I want to bring in a Strayus.
Yeah. But it's just how many points? Like 600 or something?
Yeah, something like 550, I think.
Okay. So so you bring in a Strayus, what, one squad of Death Company or squad of Intercessors, that's you done? Maybe a character.
Strayus, squad of Terminators.
Okay. No half measures for you, obviously.
No. 2+ armor save will go home.
Nice, I like it. Okay.
Sort of childish.
Found instructions.
Like to put together.
Happy days. I gotta build a couple of jetpacks to start with. But yeah, I feel like before when you had 10 infernal pistols, you hit. Well, they removed the fact that Death Company could reroll hits as well. So
Yes.
you lost the ability to reroll hits. So basically, before you would have had like 8 hits. Now you get like 1 hit, and your 1 hit doesn't wound. So your infernal pistols are rubbish and worthless. Um, I think I shot my Death Company. Yeah, I think that's what I did last night. I shot my Death Company at the Stomper, and I think I did 1 wound to it. So, like, both Infernal Pistols failed to wound. Maybe one of the Plasma Pistols did wound, and he passed the save. And then 5 Bolt Pistols hit it, and he failed the save against a Bolt Pistol. Go figure. That's what happens when you've got Bolt Pistols in the squad. It's always against the Bolt Pistol they fucking fail the save, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
they did 1 damage to the Stomper.
So I don't know if you can see this, John, but all I'm doing now is I've got a Q-tip and a little bit of thinner, and I'm just taking it off the areas I don't want it.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that's what I was asking about cotton bud. I guess you call it a Q-tip, we call it a cotton bud. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got shitloads of those for the kids lying around the house, you know?
Yeah. So that's all it is, just a bit thinner in there, and I've just taken it off where I don't want it. Normal, if I wanted to have more of an effect, I'd leave it overnight to dry and then do this.
And then take it off. Okay.
Then, but because I'm just sort of rushing it a little bit, to be honest, just to more show the technique. But I'll just clean it all up a bit, so because I only really want it in certain places, and it's just a bit of definition.
Yeah, true.
And because I don't want it staining, because a normal wash will stain the model, I don't want that.
So hold on, we got a couple of questions from chat. Eternal Crusader says, "What would you rate the Blood Angels release out of 10, taking into account like the Infernal Pistol restrictions?" Like a 7.
It's a difficult question, that, isn't it? Because I think from a rules perspective, I think Blood Angels are in a good position. They've got 3 usable well, 2 good detachments and 1 funny one. They've got the changes to most of the units are generally positive ones. They've been buffs. I don't think anything's been really nerfed. You could argue that taking away units is a bit of a nerf, and you can argue that taking away war gear is a bit of a nerf, but generally, you know, Mephiston took a big glow up. I still don't have nothing to run him though. Dante's took a decent glow up. Sanguinary Guard, I do think they're better. They're too many points at the moment, but until we've got points values for these things, we don't know. It's the same with Death Company. Until we've got proper points values for them, we don't know. They could be amazing because they're so cheap.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's like where it stands with the Codex points, it's like a 7 or an 8. It's not. Yeah. We lost a lot of war gear. I think we all knew that was coming. If you're upset about that, then I guess you were living with your head buried in the sand. We knew that was going to happen. Hopefully they can finally balance Sangre Guard, I feel like. And hopefully they can... I mean, Death Company led by Astrath or Death Company led by Lamartes are still a good unit. If they've got a bit cheaper, they'll still be a good unit. It feels a little bit more... It feels a little bit more like you can't take as many Death Company, for example, or you can't take as many Sangre Guard.
The cold spamming Death Company playstyle that was starting to become common, I wasn't a fan of.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't like the spamming of like. If we go back to 9th edition, there was a period where what you wanted to do was you wanted to have 3 units of Sangre Guard, you wanted to have 3 units of Death Company, and you wanted to have 3 units of Assault Intercessors. I think that was boring. Because there's everybody just needs to take those 9 units, and that's the best. And if you don't take those 9 units, you actually got flamed a little bit, right? Like people would come into my stream and like flame me because they would say, like I remember reading a thing on Reddit one time that was like hot take Blood Angels commander is actually not good at playing Blood Angels.
Yeah, and arguably you weren't because you weren't playing the optimal thing. But playing the optimal thing is boring as fuck.
Yeah, I don't like it when there's only one choice for...
No, I don't. And I feel like the beauty of the current new codex is that, points dependent, it feels like there's multiple ways you can play the army.
Yeah, which is what you want, because if you're if you're like me and you're only going to play the army, you don't want to be pigeonholed into one build for 3 years. Like I said,
no, exactly.
It's very boring.
I like the fact that it does still work for my wacky builds. I know I've lost a lot of interesting units, but I can still rock up an Astraeus and a load of Terminators if I want.
Yeah,
Okay?
you could still
And
rock up a ton of dreadnoughts as well now, I guess, with the
you
new
still
rules.
and people will think, oh, Sons of Sanguinius, you don't want to be running vehicles. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Dreadnoughts in Sons of Sanguinius is brilliant. And so are Terminators. All my Terminators are punching you at shred of 10. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Love it.
People are so quick to write Sons of Sanguinius off if you're not playing that one playstyle.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
I saw.
I'm running it, and I've got tanks and that in there. You know, Vindicators, Terminators. What else have I got in there? A couple of units of jump units just for a bit of speed. Assault Intercessors are great in there, but it's a balanced army.
Yeah.
I
saw a post on.
these two Vindicators.
Sorry.
You've sort of gone off them, haven't you, at the moment?
I mean, Vindicators have got better with the new detachment because you can advance and shoot, and you can fall back and shoot with them now, right? Because there's a stratagem that lets you advance and shoot with anything in lag, or fall back and shoot with anything in lag. So Vindicators have actually got better. My main thing was I didn't like the fact that they couldn't fall back and shoot, or they couldn't advance and shoot, and that's kind of been fixed, I guess.
5 points, I don't care. Because they're an absolute nightmare to deal with at times if you've got the wrong opponent. So, yeah, a toughness 11 or whatever vehicle, 11, 12.
Toughness 11, 2-up save is what they are.
Yeah, they've got plenty of wounds. It's an annoying unit to deal with.
Yeah.
And then again, they're 175 points, and sometimes you roll really hot and they blow something up, and other times they're just a roadblock, but they're still an annoying roadblock.
Well, they work well because you can kind of safely use your Oath of Moment on them, because if your Dante is leading your Sangre Guard, they don't need Oath of Moment, right? Because they're hitting on 2s anyway. And Death Company reroll their hits in melee, so they don't need Oath of Moment. So I mean, that's kind of one of the big strengths of Liberator Assault Group, is you can use the Oath of Moment for your fire support, or you could use your Oath of Moment for another unit that's not like your core unit, because the core units don't need it.
There are rules that their gun is a nice general purpose gun.
Yeah, kills infantry,
you don't
kills
feel
tanks.
bad shooting it into anything.
No, because it's blast.
So I just think they're a really strong unit at the moment. So I tend to start off there my fire support, a couple of units of them, a couple of indicators starts my army, and then I work from there.
Ricardo says, speaking of tanks, been thinking I don't have a tank, so I must choose to get one. Going by your insight, the Gladiator Lancer is good, but the Redemptor is tasty. Which would be best? I don't think the Redemptor is as tasty as it used to be, man. I think at the moment it's just too many points. Yeah, I think one of the Space Marine detachments, I think Iron Storm, were using it to too great an effect, I think. Or maybe it was Black Templar. Someone was using it to too great effect. I think if the Redemptor was like 180 points, I think it would be very good. But at 210 or whatever it is at, it's just too expensive. 210 for a vehicle with no invulnerable save is tough to play well, I feel like. But Lancers are a very solid choice. Like I mentioned, I just commissioned my second Lancer.
They're all right, but I do feel the same as you do. I think, John, they're a bit too swingy.
Well, I don't think you can field one of them. You have to field two. No, if you want Lancers, you have to field two.
You need to, otherwise it doesn't seem to kill anything. It tends to leave things either undamaged or nearly dead.
James says, if the question is tank, then the answer is Land Raider.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, I mean, Land Raiders have fallen off a little bit as well, to be honest with you. A lot of people were playing them, not so much now, I guess.
I think the base variant Land Raider is a little bit of an they call it hidden gem, because they're quite cheap.
Yeah, I mean, they are a lot cheaper than the Flamer version. I think the Flamer version is maybe dead on arrival now. It's like 285 points. Yeah. Again, I don't know who was using it to justify 208. Well, do you know what? I actually played against a Grey Knight list that had 3 Land Raider Redeemers in it, and that was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Because he had like a bunch of teleporting dread knights and then 3 redeemers just flaming any infantry I had everywhere on the board, and it was obnoxious.
Yeah, I
Do
can
you
see
know
that.
what about a lancer and a ballistus? Yes, I mean, I think
If you get a
some.
ballistic on eBay, don't pay full price for it though. It's a bit.
I suppose, yeah, ballistas are an easy to build model. You probably get it on eBay.
40 odd quid, aren't they, if you try and buy them separately now?
Are they?
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Considering it was in the Leviathan box set, so
The nice thing about the ballistas is only like 17 pieces or something, whereas the brutalis is like 110 pieces.
I have to admit that I've got 2 Brutalis Dreadnoughts now, and I haven't built either of them.
Yeah, well, I built one, and it was like 110 pieces, and I haven't plucked up the courage to build the other one yet, I guess.
I've been using my Leviathans as proxies for it
That makes sense.
because they're about the same size.
I mean, they're very similar size, I feel like.
And I have to admit that I think the Leviathan's better as a model. So, yeah, I've been using my Leviathan. I've got a couple of Leviathans, and I just use them as Brutalis at the moment.
Mike has 4 brutalis dreadnoughts. Yeah, I mean, someone might come up with a good Blood Angels list that uses like 4 Brutalis, or 2 Brutalis, 2 Death Company Dreads or something, because obviously Brutalises can be Death Company Dreadnoughts as well. But
And I'm going to paint one. I'm going to paint one as Brutalis and one as a Death Company Dreadnought.
that's a good idea. That's what I was thinking. One of each, basically, right?
At the moment, though, the Death Company Dreadnought is incredibly overcosted, so it really depends on. I don't think I'd use one at the moment.
No,
Have you tried Dreadnought, or have you just stuck with Brutalis at the moment?
No, I agree with you. 220 points for the Death Company Dreadnought's batshit crazy. When the Brutalis is 160, and the Brutalis with tank shot can do 12 mortal wounds on the charge, and that's before it even swings its weapons. And the cool thing about the Brutalis is if it does do 12 mortal wounds on the charge, and you charged against someone that was close to another model, you could potentially 12 mortal wounds just kill that first unit outright. Like if it was a unit of assault intercessors, where you just killed off all 5 of them. Now I'll use my pile in to go into another model and swing at them. The cool thing about that is if that other model is a fight first unit, well, they can't fight first because they weren't in range to be activated. So now when you've piled in, you've prevented them using their fight first or something. So I think the Brutalis to me sounds much stronger than the move a little bit closer if you're getting shot, because I'm sorry, but those rules that like trigger when you shoot at specific units, it usually just means that the people ignore shooting them, right?
Yeah, I do feel I have heard the Brutalis combo before to sort of get around the fights first, but if you actually make that happen in a game, you've got to let me know because I just can't see it happening. I feel like it's such a complex setup. You know, you need a fights first unit that's also near another unit, and the other unit needs to be small enough that you can deal with it just with some mortal wounds from a tank shot, and then you can and just got. It's like all the stars have to align. And I just can't see it happening. It's worth knowing in case somebody's stupid enough to deploy their units in that way.
I think in one game against Death Guard I had it happen, but not with a Brutalis unit. I think it was something else. It must have been like an Assault Intercessor unit that did mortals, and I was able to pile into the Plague Marines and fight them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can happen. I guess it just doesn't happen all that often.
One of those, people, and they're like, I've got this 9-step combo that if I get it off, it'll kill anything in the game. You're like, yeah, all right. But to get all of those ducks in a line is fairly unlikely. I think I'm just boring when it comes to building lists, and I just sort of look at very simplistic. I'm not really interested in the really complex combos because I just feel they're really hard to get off, and I'd rather just smash them in the face with something that's good without the combo. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the other way you could do it, the other way it's possibly more likely to happen, I suppose, is like if you charged. If there was like a Death Guard Terminator unit standing next to a unit of Plague Marines, right? So you charge 2 units into the Terminators. The first unit kills enough of the Terminators, so when you pile in, you can pile some guys into the Plague Marines.
Yeah.
Get around their fight first, fight them first.
That's something that's a bit more easy to pull off. You don't need specific units to do it.
Yeah, I think that's what I did. That's what's ringing a bell because I was like, I remember saying to Colin, like, if I do this, you will not be able to fight first. And he's like, no, 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 I'll be able to fight first. And I was like, but you won't be because my unit's piling in, so my unit's already activated before your fight first unit has a chance to activate. So, and he was, but I mean, the problem is once you tell the opponent that, then they're never going to put their fight first unit within 3 inches of another unit again for the rest of the time that they live, right?
Well, yeah, they've learnt that.
Yeah, they've learnt that and they won't do it
What I
again.
mean, it's a combo that works if your opponent is ignorant of the combo
Yeah, exactly.
and the stars align.
Yeah, and the stars align, yeah.
Doing it without the specific units
Yeah.
is a little bit easier.
So in the grand scheme of things, it's like very rarely comes up.
For me, it's just that if it happens, it's cool. But not something I'm going to try and bank on ever getting happen.
James thought that you were Mark. He said God, he needs his eyes tested.
Really?
I mean, do you even sound like Mark?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think you do.
I'm not as nice as Mark. Mark's a lot nicer than me. I've just made a really terrible choice of colours, and I now regret it. I did not think about the fact that I was putting burgundy next to red, and that looks shit. I'll have to do something about that in a minute.
Well, I'm going to build my first guy with an eviscerator and a jump pack. That's my plan. Do you know what? I've played the eviscerators 3 times, man. They should have just given them power fists. There's literally no difference. There's like, so I played against the orcs that had the stompa. So that's like T12 and 14. So the power fist and eviscerators both just wound on 5s. I played against knights where it was mainly big knights that were all like T12. So the power fists and the eviscerators just wound on 5s. And I played against Death Guard, and I charged the Death Company into a Castellan Knight again. So, so the 3 games I've played the Death Company, the difference in strength between the Power Fist and the Eviscerator has made literally no difference. So it's like they just gave us Eviscerators, and at least in the 3 out of 3 times that I've used them, there's been literally no difference. So it's just like, this is just a Power Fist.
Can I present a counter argument?
Yes, go for it.
I love the eviscerators, and the reason I love the eviscerators is they're big fuck off chainswords.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. I think it's great that we finally get to field the eviscerators.
They're just cool. Yeah, from a gameplay perspective, I think we're right. I think it makes such a little difference. It's not really worth worrying about.
Yeah.
So to my mind, then, if we're in a situation where, from a gameplay perspective, it doesn't really make much difference, well, then making us have a cool variety then is fine. You know?
True. Yeah, true, I suppose.
So I'm glad that they've put that variety in there because functionally it doesn't change anything, but aesthetically it does.
Yeah. I mean, it makes us buy new Death Company models.
Or just put big chainsaws on the old ones. Weirdly, I've got hit by this Death Company change a lot less than most people.
Oh, because you had a lot with Death Company with just chainswords, right?
Yeah, because I've always been so cheap with putting war gear on my models. I've only got a few Death Company that haven't just got chainsaws anyway.
Do you know what? I have been lucky the same because when I built all my Death Company, that was back when Death Company could have chainswords and bolters.
Yes.
So I built all my Death Company with chainswords and bolters, and I just kept I know a lot of people ripped the bolters off. I was like, "Fuck that!" If anyone says that Death Company's holding a bolter and not a bolt pistol, I'm going to just be like, "Well, we're playing it as a bolt pistol." And in the 5 years or something since they changed that, because I think they changed that like 7th or 8th edition, they got rid of the fact that everybody could have a bolter.
It was I think it was 9th. I think it was 9th.
Was it 9th?
Sure, 9th they still had the bolters.
Oh yeah, I think maybe you're right. Maybe so. It was at the beginning of 9th they took away the fact that Death Company could have. The beginning of 9th is a long time ago now. I guess that's like 5 years almost.
And the thing is that I don't think I've ever seen anybody who's had a problem because I do it. A lot of mine have got bolters rather than bolt pistols. They look cooler.
Yeah, they look
Well,
cooler.
I haven't
And,
had anybody complain about them.
and no one ever once said, "How dare you have that Death Company with a bolter and not a bolt pistol in his hand?" I just played it as a bolt pistol for years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm fortunate. I made a lot of my Death Company with chainsaws and bolt guns, and just never changed them.
Yeah.
So I still have plenty for these new squads. So that's good.
So yeah, I remember when people getting all upset and ripping off all the Thunderhammers because they built all these Death Company with 5 Thunderhammers in the unit. I was like, well,
Yeah, I've
I don't
done that. I've
feel
done
like
that.
that, so it doesn't really affect me too much.
I've got 10 with Thunderhammers, and you can't take any Thunderhammers now, right?
Yeah.
Eternal Crusader says GW won't forgive. He doesn't forgive them for legending the Leviathan. Then he also asked, could anyone recommend a replacement for Liberator Gold?
Uh, the scale color golds, Necro and Elven are very, very good. So yeah, all the scale color metallics are excellent. The Dark Star ones aren't too bad. They've got a funny texture to them. They take a bit getting used to because they use proper metal flakes rather than mica flakes, which is what most people use. And that gives them a funny texture. So it's a little bit trickier to use than others, but they do look good when they're being used. Then what else you've got? The Vallejo metal color line, that's these big fat pots. Now these are slightly different base to them. They're very, very runny. They work very well for an airbrush, but they can look quite nice as well. But again, it's a bit of a learning curve with them. And then supposedly, although I haven't tested them yet, the new Army Painter metallics are quite good, but I've just not had a chance to try them out yet.
Yeah, so you are right, Highland Phoenix. The weapon skill on the Viscerators is one worse, but they do still reroll all hits, and they do have sustained one. So I think when you factor in the fact that like you're hitting on threes, rerolling everything, when you're hitting on fours, sustained one, rerolling everything, it feels like they feel identical, right? Like, I guess if you mathed it out, it might be ever so slightly different.
There are going to be certain targets where it is different.
Yeah,
It's
but I
just
mean, it's minorly
that
different.
different, you know?
Um,
Which was accessing.
I guess the Viscerators maybe have slightly more potential because if you rolled a few sixes, the sustained would kick in. The irony is changing bolters to bolt pistols, and then the Primaris come along with heavy bolt pistols that's the size of a bolter. GW is trolling with the bolt weapon spam. Yeah, and the heavy bolt pistol has better AP than a bolter these days.
Yeah, it does.
Because that's the sleeper upgrade that no one remembered, right? You know, when everybody got all these Death Company nerfs, everyone's like, "Oh, the Death Company got nerfed." Well, the
Yeah.
Death Company do have 5 bolt pistols now that have 1 AP, so that's a big improvement. I mean, it's not really, but it is something to be
Every
aware
now and
of.
again, they comes in clutch, doesn't it?
I mean, sometimes you do damage with the 1 AP on the bolt pistol now, whereas before you
Yeah.
very rarely did anything with it, I suppose. So
Because I've done that before with assault intercessors, and people are like, what are you firing them for? It's like, well, you never know. And
and they
occasionally
got
it's chipped my wound off something, and that's been annoying for my opponent.
and heavy bolt pistols do have 6 inches more. They are an 18-inch pistol.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the rest of the squad's still running the old plasma pistol, which is 12 inches. So quite often you're like, oh, the plasmas are out of range, but my heavy bolt pistols are in range. Ivan Starr is going to run his Thunderhammers as counts as power fists, so which means he needs to sort out the Viscerators. That's literally what I'm doing at this very moment. Ivan is building some of these Primaris guys to give Eviscerators, and I'll use my Thunderhammers as counts as power fists. So this was like my next project is like 2 Death Company with Eviscerators and Astaroth, I think. I might build Lamartis while I'm at it, because why not? If I'm spraying black, it would make sense to spray Lamartis at the same time.
It's not a huge deal, is it? They don't take long to build.
No. Not too long at all. Does the eviscerator go on any model, or is there a specific model it's supposed to go on?
I don't know. Why didn't you read the instructions, John?
Okay, well, I've got the instructions here. Just, like there's a picture of it on a specific model, but that's obviously not the one that I've decided to build because I wouldn't try to make things easy for myself, if that makes sense. What you said you just got a new gold from Army Painter, and it's actually really good.
Yeah, I've heard the new Army Paint Metallics are good, but I just haven't. I haven't tried any of the newest Army Painter range. I've tried plenty of their old paints, and they were a very mixed bag. And I'll say mixed bag. I mean mixed, leaning towards the shit. But that being said, apparently their new range is much improved. So until I have a chance to sort of have a go with it, I can't really comment on, because everybody's got all ranges have got their fans.
Yeah.
And people are telling me that Army Paint the paints are good for years, and you're like, well, they aren't. But also you've got to sort of understand, well, people are looking for different things in their paints. Traditionally, I like really thick paints because I can thin them down to the consistency I want. Whereas if you've got a paint that's very thin, you can't thicken it up to the consistency you want.
No, that reminds me of Averland Sunset being horrifically thin.
Yeah. So I tend to use a lot of Chimera ones. I like my scale colour paints. I quite like these new AK ones I've been using, although they are thinner. They're on the thinner side for ones for me to use. Yeah, so it's kind of there's always a bit of personal preference in there.
Right, which sprue has the extra little arms that you need to build the eviscerator?
They're not in the instructions.
Well, it says F19 and 20. I've been looking at this sprue for a minute like a nugget. I do not see 19 or 20 on it. See 17, 16, 17. 21. 20 is ahead, so it's not this sprue if 20 is ahead. So it's not on the jump intercessor sprue. Chat, who's built? It's next to the eviscerator. What, on the upgrade sprue?
Well, it must be on the upgrade sprue. How can it be on the jump intercessor sprue when you don't get any jump intercessors?
Ugh. I thought I looked on the upgrade sprue. I'm blind, apparently. It is right next to it on the upgrade sprue. Thanks. Right. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Tony. Don't know what I'd do without you guys.
Right, I think we're going to have to call it a day there anyway, because it's about 11 o'clock.
I was going to say, haven't had your dinner, right?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
So that's where, I don't know if people can see it, but that's where
they can see it, yeah.
That's
Bring
where
it up a little bit closer.
Let's see if I can get him to switch to the OBS so I can move that a little bit better. There he is.
There you go. Yeah, you've smashed it on him. Look at that.
So that's where he's got to.
You've done all that in an hour. Good for you, man.
He's got a long way to go, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
but I was kind of just sort of showing this is not good quality painting. This is techniques.
I mean, it still looks good.
Okay. So I've only done slapped a little bit of silver on there, but we're going to wash that back down a bit. We'll put maybe a little bit of OSL on the plasma coil. I've used kind of red for the underclothes, and I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment, so I might change that. But yeah, that was all right for an hour's work.
Yeah. You are a very proficient painter, my friend.
Right. So I'm going to call it a night there, because I haven't had my tea yet.
Yeah. let's do it. Let's call it a night. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a like on the stream. We'll be back probably in a couple of weeks' time, as we always are. We might be back at some point to talk about.
If people like them, because they're quite fun.
Yeah, they are quite fun. Thanks for hanging out. Leave a like, share it with a friend. You know the drill.
Cheers, everybody.
Night.
Bye.